There are factors for success you need to consider at the very beginning of your Kickstarter journey. Otherwise, it could be too late. Here are 5 things you need to take into account. My name is Jason, and last year I successfully funded my first board game, Airport Empire. Now I'm working on my next board game and I'm documenting it as I go. I'm also sharing some insights along the way. So this video I'm talking about the success of your Kickstarter campaign and the fulfillment. I'm not talking about the wider business success, so your retail strategy, branding, all that kind of stuff. Just the factors for the Kickstarter. You see, what will happen is as you're going along through the planning, etc., there'll always be points where you come to a stop and you're like, uh-oh, something's not working, and you have to stop, step back and try and fix it, replan, re-strategize, etc. So if you follow these things, hopefully that will reduce for you and you'll have it happen less. So just a quick recap. For those of you new to this series, I'm documenting the process of my next game, which is Air Base Empire, follow on from Airport Empire. So far I've spent this much money and it's taken me this long. In the last video I said I wanted to be working on the illustrations, which is where I'm at. So me and Mike, we're still working on the game mechanics and all the content and that kind of thing. But we have enough to know what we want visually. So I'm sketching out designs. I've got like 50 of them, so this is taking a long time. But also the bits which I'm working on right now, which is very difficult, is the map. So with Airport Empire, you start with a small airstrip and it grows, and you end up with a big international hub. What I really wanted at the beginning was that every time you play, no matter where you put the piece, it would work and it would look different every time. So you've got a different looking airport every time you play, or at least different to the other person you're playing with. But I couldn't get it to work. I was juggling a lot of things, first game and whatnot, so I didn't have the capacity to try and get that to work. So now I'm trying it, and it's still hard. I still can't quite get it to work. So I'm starting with a different layout where you start with the equivalent airstrip will be in the middle and it grows out. And the idea is no matter where you put it on, it will work and it will look different every time. But it's hard. I can't get it to work that way. The hexagon thing, pentagon, whatever, has been done a billion times. I don't want to do that. I want to do it different. So although I can't get that to work at the moment, what I think I might do instead is like a visually different. So although the pattern will be the same and the shape will be the same for both players, but visually it will look different. So my thinking is, like if you think of air bases, you're thinking of like a desert air base or like a tropical island air base, like the Pacific, Guam, that kind of thing. So I was thinking that what they have in common is sand. So I was thinking if I can be clever in the way the edges have sand or the building borders have sand, we can mix and match. So you can either build a desert air base or a fully tropical island air base, or mix and match the two and have a blended Frankenstein air base. So every time you play, at least it will look different. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm just drawing out these maps and seeing if I can make that work. So yeah, that's where we are. That's the recap for Air Base Empire. Now, talking about insights, the main topic of today, the 5 things you need to consider early when doing your Kickstarter. This is mostly talking about board games, but if you're doing any kind of Kickstarter campaign, you can think about this. So, number 1 is the theme. This is the big one. The theme is the most important factor to the success. Why? Because it is your marketing. That's how you sell your game. That's how you sell your campaign. Your marketing is what gets people in, and the theme is what is used on the marketing. So if you're at this point where you've got your own game and you're following along, you probably have your theme, probably know what you want, but let's just think about it in a bit more detail. Let's take, for example, party games. Party games are tough. If it's your first time you're doing a party game, and it's like a party card game or a quick game, it's tough. Flip 7, that was a big one recently. That sold well because it relied on the reputation of their publisher and manufacturer, and they're beyond Kickstarter. They do things differently. Their marketing is different, whatnot. So they did well. If that was your first game, you've got nothing to go on. It's just a party game. Oh, well, so it's just a card game, right? So your marketing is just going to be pictures of people having fun. But on a Facebook stream, that doesn't sell. That's going to be very difficult. Party games are very difficult to sell on Kickstarter unless you've got some kind of reputation that can sell it for you. So take it deeper. If that's what you've got, what can you do? Well, can you make it a card game with a pirate theme? Okay, that's better. People like pirates, and it's you can use some pirate imagery to help. Maybe you need to take it deeper than that. analyze your theme. For example, mine was airport theme, and then subsequently tycoon is the mechanics. So luckily for me, there isn't airports and aviation is really underrepresented in board games. Sky Team came out 2 years ago. That kind of worked to my advantage because it kind of got people aware of they like Sky Team or might like this. So this worked well for me. Board games is my marketing. Airport aviation is the theme, and that was probably enough to get an email sign up. If they clicked on it, they'll see like, oh, it's tycoon as well. I like that. I definitely like that. Sign up. Because your theme is what's going to get people to get the link click. However, the theme is also how you categorize and target people. If you're doing a party game, you just put target board game enthusiasts. That's a big audience and it covers a wide range of people that your ad's going to show in front of a lot of people who aren't interested. So you need to take it deeper. So let's go back to that. Let's look at your example again. Let's just say you've got a party game. Okay, now you're going to add a pirate theme. Okay, it's getting there. What else can you do? Can you take it deeper? Can you make it a bunny zombie pirates? So now you've got quirky bunny zombie pirates and board games. So now you've taken it deeper and you've found a bit of a niche. So people who like board games, oh, look at the cute bunny zombie pirate board game, you've got their link click. And then hopefully you get their sign up. So think about your theme, think how much work you need to do, how niche you need to go. If you've got a theme which is quite not represented, cool, you don't have to go that niche. That's probably enough. If you're doing something medieval, fancy, you're going to have to go deeper and find a niche. So consider that. Because that is probably the point at which, if you're going to have one of these stop in your track moments, it's going to be that. A lot of people do their first marketing where you kind of just test the water, see how your ads react, and then with how they react, you then decide how much money, if you're on the right track. When people do that and the results aren't good, it's for that reason. They come to a stop and like, oh, no one's clicking on my ads. Why is this? They have to stop everything because this is where the money's coming. This is where they're going to spend their money. So they have to stop everything in its tracks and figure it out. So if you can do this now, you'll prevent that. So do it now. Number 2, campaign costs and budgets. Okay, so in the first video, we worked out our budget, which is the easy bit. The hard bit is sticking to that. So how do you stick to your budget? All your costs, 90% of it is manpower costs. Sure, we're going to make a prototype later and that's going to cost money to build this physical prototype. But making the board games, that's after the campaign's done. So that's not part of the campaign. All your costs is, man hours. You're paying your illustrator in his time. You're paying the graphic designer in their time. If you need someone to set up your Facebook ads, you're paying them. If you need someone to set up MailChimp, you're paying them. So it's all time. So the trick here is to do as much of it as you can. So if you're just if you've got basic computer literacy and you've got access to YouTube, you can do most of it yourself. There's really no excuse for it. Facebook ads, watch the tutorial, set it up. MailChimp tutorial, set it up. And that applies for almost every step along the way. Do a bit of research, do it yourself. Yes, there are going to be points when you get to and you just can't do it yourself. Illustration and graphic design is the obvious one. So this is what you can do to bring your costs down. And that is give a good brief. Your graphic designer, for example, is charging you per hour. So reduce the hours. So here, let me give you an example here. The rules. So you've got your rules, you've written them all out, and you've got some visuals that you want to go with it. If you just send that to the graphic designer, they're going to come back with stuff and you're like, oh, no, that's not what I had in mind. This needs to go here. This doesn't make sense. This image needs to apply to this paragraph because it's talking to that. Your graphic designer is not going to take the time to learn the rules of the game. They just need to design it. They've got lots of jobs. They can't understand every project that they're doing. If they're writing a manifest for a cargo shipping company, they don't know anything about cargo shipping. They just make it look pretty. It's the same with your rules. They're not going to take the time to learn your rules, so they don't know where images are going to go. They're not going to read the sentence and go, that's where that image must go. They're not going to do that. So that's where you come in. Give a good brief. Let me show you here. So this is the rules I came up with for my expansion pack Golden Age. Super basic on Canva. I just wrote the text and the layout. So I give her this, she gives me this. I give her this, she gives me this. I give her this, she gives me this. And here's a good example. I give her this and she gives me this. She just makes it look good. So I put in the time to lay everything out. So therefore she makes it look good, she sends it back to me, and all I do is go and make some small changes, and that's it. So we've saved a lot of time and a lot of money. Same goes for illustration, as I mentioned in the recap. give them as good as you can, so then you get back what you want, right? So illustration normally it's per job cost, but they'll only give you so many revisions. So if you just say, draw me a air traffic control tower, and they come back, oh yeah, that's not what I meant. I meant make it smaller. Can you put it in the corner? That kind of stuff. That's revisions. It's going to cost money. So this is what I did. I draw out a sketch, I find a reference, and I give it to them, and then I get it back, and then I didn't need a change. I've saved time and money. So consider that from the very beginning. Ingrain it into your process. Be as thorough as you can. Take on as much time as you can, so you're not paying for everyone else's time. So that was number 2. Number 3 is the cost of goods. The cost of production, basically. Now, we're not at the production stage yet, so I'm not saying you need to know how much things are going to cost, but there's factors you need to think about loosely in your head. So, for example, my game is essentially all paper. That's it. It's all paper. Paper and cardboard. So, it's all paper and cardboard, everything is paper and cardboard. Paper, cardboard. The deck is paper, the money is nice cardboard. The only thing that's not is these dice and counters. What does that mean? It means it's all done in one factory. It's all done by the same factory, and they just print it and make it. So if you have things with miniatures, that's going to be done in a different factory, and it needs molds and stuff. If you've got a structure of some kind, like a dice tower, that's maybe if it's cardboard, they might do it the same. But if it's plastic or some other material, glass, whatever, Pyrex, it's got to be done somewhere else. So as you're designing your game, think about that. Does this piece need to be 3D? Does this piece need to go here? Do we need that piece? Because again, once you get your quote in 3-4 months time, once you're far down the road and you get your quote back and the cost per unit is expensive and it's not going to work out, you're going to come to a grinding stop and have to go back and replan everything. Well, not everything, but you're going to go figure it out. So think about it early, and then you won't get to that stage. So that's the cost of goods. Just have it in your mind while you're designing. That was number 3. Number 4 is planned extras. So if it's your first board game, like it was with me, you've got a mountain to climb creating a board game. So I was like, let me just get this board game out into the world, and I'll worry about expansion packs and stuff later. I don't want to be promising expansion packs when I haven't even released a game yet. And I'm sure you're probably the same. So I stuck to that. I was just going to release the board game on Kickstarter, and in the future I had ideas, but I'll do that later. That's something I'll cover later. But then a big realization came to me that doesn't work. The reason why it doesn't work is because you are spending a lot of money to market your Kickstarter campaign. So you need a return on investment on that marketing. So if I'm spending $10,000 to market this, and I sell it, if I want to do this later, I'm going to have to spend more money on this to market it and sell it. So why don't you combine it with the same $10,000? So therefore now with that same $10,000 that I've marketed this and sold this, I can also sell this and whatever else you do. So you've got to really consider that. It's not a case of just focusing on one thing. It's a case on the finances of your whole campaign. Use your marketing budget to sell as much as you can. So anyone who followed me will know that I learned that late, and I realized I wouldn't have this in time. If I try to tack on the expansion pack, it's going to delay everything. So what I did is I sent out the base game and this little cosmetic skin, and then would send out the expansion later. So I took a bit of a hit on that because I didn't want the backers. It's not fair for the backers to pay for both shipping separately because I'm doing it separately. So I took a hit and sent this separately myself because I didn't want to rush the expansion just to get it sent. So if I'd done that from the beginning and planned both of them, I would have planned that into the timeline. I maybe would have pushed the campaign back a little bit to make sure the expansion pack was ready. But plan all your expansions, plan all your add-ons, make sure you've got enough in there so for the dollar you spend on marketing, you can hopefully sell a lot more with it. So you've got to plan that early on. That was one of my kind of grinding to a stop moments and realizing that the marketing money, selling this alone, will not be good enough. I need to add other revenue in the campaign. Okay, and then the last one, number 5, is timing. When to launch your campaign. So you want to consider this just so you've got a loose time frame. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to, you don't want to be sitting with everything ready and having to wait for the right window. So there are times of the year when it's better to launch a Kickstarter campaign and not as good to launch a Kickstarter campaign. The bad times, Christmas, right? End of November to December, everyone's strapped for cash. They don't want to be paying for a board game which they're only going to receive, in a year's time. But more importantly, is ads are very expensive at that time. If you're doing a campaign and you want to be advertising it, you're competing with all the big boys, Target and Nintendo and all that, trying to sell their products, and the cost of ads goes up. So don't do it. Another bad time, not as bad but not great, is summertime. People are on holidays, routines are disrupted. So it's not bad, but it's not ideal. So the best times are February to April. February to April is good. Everyone's come back from the holiday season. They've recovered a little bit financially. Also in America, which will be one of your main target audiences, I think they will get in their tax rebates and stuff if they get them. So they've got a little bit extra cash. So that's a good time to do it. And also, if depending on what your time frame's like, you could maybe get it to them for Christmas of the next year. So February to April is a good time. The other good time is September to early November. Similar reason. After summer, everyone's getting back into their routine. They might have Christmas on their mind, so they're kind of browsing around. Although your game won't be ready for Christmas, they're browsing anyway. Oh, yeah, this looks good. I'll order that. So that's a good time. So consider that. It's quite nice because it's separated by 5 months. So if you look like you're not going to make it, okay, well, let's not rush for September, November. Let's plan for February next year, and vice versa. So keep that in mind. Put in your loose time frame and plan for those kind of things. And that's it. Those are the 5 things to consider early to try and stop and prevent you having these grinding moments where everything comes to a stop and you go, oh no. Hopefully that's helped you. Okay, so let's move on now finally to objectives. I kind of touched on my recap. Just my briefs. I need to sketching out my buildings for my illustrator, sketching out the maps, trying to make it work. So follow along, stay tuned for the next video to see how I'm getting on with the map. If anyone's got any ideas, let me know. And also if there's anything I kind of brushed over which you would like to have seen in more detail, just leave a comment. Channel's still small and growing, but hopefully one day we'll get a bit of an audience and we can cover more of these topics that will help people with their Kickstarter campaign. So yeah, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.